Hello and welcome to our post-match show after another fantastic win, this time 2-0 against Sheffield Wednesday. To talk us through the big moments, I'm joined by former Huddersfield Town players David Mirfin and Phil Starbuck. How are you both? You okay?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Yeah, a lot better after that, I'm sure. I mean, Phil, you watched us earlier in this season. How far do you think we've come on as a team in terms of our transitional play? Because some of that in the first half, especially the first 30 minutes, was excellent, wasn't it?
Yeah, they've got great shape. They keep the ball really well, don't they, Huddersfield? They're really confident from the back. The goalkeeper's got really good feet, hasn't he? And he's confident as well. They play it really well. They've got a good shape. They break well, keep it really well. So they just look more confident. They've got good shape throughout the team. And it's just great to see them passing the ball around like they should be.
Yeah, back-to-back wins now that in the Sky Bet Championship, Murph. It's that momentum. It's so key, isn't it, in this league?
Yeah, definitely. I think getting a consistency of how the manager wants them to play is a massive thing. And like I say, it's probably taken a bit of time and a few games to get that message across. And you could see throughout the full 90 minutes, he was always on the touchline, talking to his players, explaining where he wanted them. And I think it's becoming more natural for them now. And like I say, in terms of getting two back-to-back results like that together, especially going down to Bournemouth on Saturday, I think it'll just give the lads a massive boost of confidence, knowing that what the manager is trying to get across is actually kind of showing in points and performances on the pitch.
And that's back-to-back impressive performances as well, Phil. Obviously, the QPR win at the weekend raised a lot of eyebrows, especially the first half. And it was almost identical to this game in terms of the first half being really like breathtaking and then the second half being more of a professional performance.
Yeah, I was always wondering, watching the first half, if they could keep that pace and keep that quality. And of course, I'm sure you're the same, Murph, thinking that they're not really going to keep this going for 90 minutes. But to be quite honest, Sheffield Wednesday didn't offer much, did they? First off, they had no shape. They didn't. Half the team didn't look like they knew what they were doing as regards to shape. They didn't look like there was no strategy. They sat off Huddersfield, and so I guess that really allowed them to play tonight. But at the end of the day, we've all played in games where we've played really well and the opposition have nicked one and we've got beat or something like that. So two wins on the trot, it's always nice to get a little bit of momentum. You'll get a good dressing room, some good training during the week and good banter going. And I'm sure confidence will be flying high in the dressing room and on the training ground.
How impressed were you, Murph, with that performance?
I was actually really, really impressed. I think first half, like Phil said, then I think you're thinking, are they going to keep up the second half? But like you both said, how Wednesday Tony Pulis has got a way of playing. It was as though it was neither a Tony Pulis way of playing or a Gary Monk way of playing. It was very indecisive. Like I said, players didn't really know whether to press, whether to drop and be compact. But I think a lot of credit has got to go to how Huddersfield played. Like I said, I was really impressed with the two young centre halves, very composed. And in fact, the decision making was pretty spot on. I mean, I think you can tell the manager wants to play from the back, keep the ball, but when it had to go, it went. And I think if that gives the lads in front a lot of confidence, knowing that they're solid behind them. And again, how they set up, players seem to know what the jobs are, how to create space, how to create an extra pass, when to go forward, when to go back. And it was a very, very good display.
You mentioned the centre halves there, Murph. Obviously, you were a centre back in your playing days. Romani Edmonds-Green, this was his second Sky Bet Championship start, his fifth Huddersfield Town appearance. You mentioned him being composed. As a young player, how difficult is it to kind of step up especially into the second tier of English football, but then to keep that composure on the ball, to drive forwards and then to battle physically as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, for his age and his appearances, he was so composed. And I think from a centre-half's point of view, if you've got options it makes it so much easier for you. I mean, back in kind of Division 3 and League 1 and League 2 days, you kind of look up and it just seems to be a barrage of the opposition kind of attackers running towards you. But I think as you go higher up, I think weight teams in the ball and you've still got to be composed yourself. So, like I say, when you're going back to the keeper, it's getting it back. You've still got to be knowing where you're going to pass to, kind of where you're looking at, where your players are going to be. And I think, like I say, it all comes down to how the manager's got the team set up. That as a centre half, when you get the ball, you know the options you're going to get. And I think that helps massively. Plus, the players in front of him, slightly more experienced, obviously probably continuously talking to him, giving him confidence and say, look, keep believing in yourself, doing what you're doing. And it has a massive impact on you.
Yeah, and Phil, we'll run through the goals. Josh Koroma, obviously, with the first. Maybe a slight little bit of fortune in the way that he received the ball, but then it was all about him, wasn't it? An excellent turn going past the man and a fantastic finish.
Yeah, I think a player of his ability, 1-on-1 in the box, it's a defender's nightmare, really, isn't it? And, you know, he might have been a little bit fortunate how the ball got to him, but it did, and he's still got to deal with it. And obviously, you know, he dropped a little shoulder right and shimmied to the left, and he just needed half a yard, and he's put it past the keeper. Didn't have to smash it. He just placed it across him, and it was a fantastic finish.
Yeah, another really good talent there as well, Murph. That's his 6th goal of the season.
Yeah, you could tell, like I say, just with his finish, he's got the confidence, which I think is a massive thing. I think sometimes if he's going into that and it might be he's not scored yet, he might be a little bit uptight, his touch might not be right, he might be looking to bring other players in. But like I said, the confidence he's got, and you could tell touch, finish, it's that natural instinct that now he's got that, he's got the goals, he's got the confidence. It's just going to put him in good stead now. Obviously, a lot of games coming up before, during and after Christmas. When you've got a player in form like that, it makes a massive difference to the whole team.
And to be fair, he nearly scored another goal, didn't he? It's about 35 minutes in, something like that, and it was a fantastic move all the way from the back. They kept the ball, Huddersfield zinging it about, broke, and he was on the left of the coming on in from the kind of the left wing, from the corner of the edge of the box, and went kind of ghosted in past 2 players and just zoomed it over the bars. Unfortunate, really, but it reminded me a little bit of his goal against QPR as he kept coming in on his right foot and launched into that top corner. I'm sure, being in that position myself a few times, he would be a little bit disappointed that he didn't hit the target, and he would probably have fancied that and could maybe have fancied himself another goal. But you know, that's his 6th goal of the season, and he's dangerous, isn't he? So, yeah. Certainly one you want to keep on your team sheet.
Absolutely. Do you remember, Phil, when we spoke after the Nottingham Forest game, he had a few of those efforts that were a little bit similar, and we were saying he just needs a little bit more confidence, doesn't he? He needs one to go in, and then they'll start falling, and that's exactly happened.
That's what's happened, yeah. And, you know, to be fair, any player thrives on confidence, don't they? For a centre-half, going heading the ball, a good pass, a good tackle, and obviously for a striker, you know, getting hold of the ball, taking players on, and obviously the ultimate, scoring goals. And is in that little bit of a groove at this moment in time, and hopefully can continue it.
Yeah, and then the second goal, Murph, an absolutely fantastic free kick from Isaac Benza.
Yeah, I was listening to Matt as he was talking on the commentary, just saying, like, in terms of, again, going back to teammates, when you've got a teammate with that ability and in form on set pieces, you almost get to a stage where you're expecting it to hit the back of the net, and obviously he didn't disappoint. I mean, I think on the commentary, would the keeper be slightly disappointed looking at where he's kind of gone in the net? I think to get to there as a keeper, you've done pretty well. So I think all the credit's got to go to the free kick, and he was. And at that time as well, I think being on top, being 1-0 up, it was a great time to get that second goal and just kind of get rewarded for how they were playing. Going in at 1-0, it just makes it a little bit more edgy. But to get that second goal when they did, I think it's just completely settled them and set them up for the second half.
Yeah, he scored one similar earlier this season as well. As soon as that free kick was given, you could see he grabbed the ball again, he's another player that's just oozing confidence. You can see that in the way he's playing, the way he's smiling off the pitch. But again, when he's got that ball, it's all about him then, and he's showing his quality and his class.
Yeah, I fancied that free kick. Never mind him. I would love to have took it. But to be fair, he's got to get it up and down. It was a good wall, and I agree with you, Murph. Although the keeper got a touch on it, I don't think the keeper had a chance, because it wasn't like a curler, was it? It had pace on it, and it kind of dipped over the wall quick, so it went in with quite a bit of pace. So I don't think the keeper had a chance. It was a fantastic free kick, well executed, and it was an awesome goal, wasn't it? And a great time to score the second goal, like you just already said, Murph.
You kind of both hit the nail on the head there. The goals both came at good times, didn't it? Almost killed the game off, especially within that first half. Huddersfield Town were cruising at that point, weren't they?
Yeah, there was absolutely nothing, though, wasn't there, from Sheffield Wednesday? There was no danger. I think it was like, I made a note, 37 minutes before they got a cross in. And that, I think that got knocked out by Sarr for a corner. Good defending, actually. But they showed nothing going forward. There was no creativity. No one wants to get on the ball and get forward. There was the guy up front, Windass, I felt sorry for him. He was up front on his own, running around like a good one and not getting no service. And I'm surprised he lasted how long he lasted. But yeah, there was not a lot from Sheffield Wednesday, to be quite honest, in the first half. And so, 2-0 was great for Huddersfield Town going in there. But you're thinking at half time, looking at Pulis is going to get into their ribs this at half time. They needed a kick up the backside, didn't they? Something had to change. And, I felt that second half, they're going to come out with a bit more tempo and a bit more urgency. And they did. And it was interesting to see how Huddersfield reacted to that.
How well do you think Huddersfield reacted to that?
Well, I think they lost their shape a little bit. And I think as the game got on, they got deeper and deeper. So the second half was nothing like the first half. I think it was just under 70% possession in the first half. And it was all Huddersfield. And second half, they were trying to press more. It was very bitty, wasn't it? There was no rhythm to the game. And yet Huddersfield, they showed little sparks going forward again. They'd be under the cosh. There was no shape. It was bitty. Then all of a sudden Huddersfield would break and they'd get a good opportunity. They get a corner. They got the penalty, which unfortunately they missed. So yeah, and as the game got on, we got deeper and deeper. The spaces between the gap between the back four and midfield and the midfield and the strikers got wider and wider. So they were less compact. So it made it harder to keep the ball and move around the pitch as a unit. And so, yeah, it got a little bit fragmented. But yeah, Sheffield Wednesday never looked like scoring, to be quite honest. I never sat there thinking, don't know about you, Murph, but I never sat there thinking, flipping it, they're going to score. I just didn't think that at all.
No, never. I think, again, going back to like what they said on commentary about a typical Tony Pulis team, it's like he's trying to play Tony Pulis way without having the players to do it. And because of that, there's not really any style or substance to what they're trying to do. And I think going back to probably the importance of the second goal, I think knowing that, like I said, Pulis at half time, he's going to have had to say something about getting something out of his players that you're expecting a bit of a reaction the second half. And I think being 2-0 as opposed to 1-0, it just takes that little bit of pressure off the Town players thinking we're only one goal in it compared to the possession they've had, especially the first half. But because of that, I did actually think they looked really dangerous playing as more of a counter-attacking team in the second half. I was very impressed with Campbell leading the line. I think the experience, whether it was into feet, bringing players in, winning free kicks, working hard, I think that took a lot of pressure off the lads behind him. And it was very, very stop-start, which for Town being 2-0, and like I say, again, going back to Pulis teams, set pieces, you're kind of thinking, especially with the talent they've got with Barry Bannon especially, you're thinking, let's reduce the amount of free kicks, corners, and they had a few second half, but again, you never felt worried that Town were going to concede.
I was interested to see how Huddersfield would react after Hogg went off, obviously injured, disappointingly, because he's such an influence, isn't he, to the team and I'm sure the dressing room, and he keeps them organised, and he almost brings like a presence and a calm and organises them. But there was certainly a difference when he went off, but obviously Huddersfield coped okay, and hopefully Hogg, his injury isn't too bad and he'll be back sooner rather than later.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, Murph, you raised a good point there. Knowing what a Tony Pulis side was going to come out like in the second half with that tempo, maybe it was a little bit of guile from Carlos and his side just to sit in a little bit and then use that pace on the counter-attack. It's almost like better game management rather than pushing on for a third, which we could have had early on, and we'll talk about in just a sec. But maybe it's more learning that game management and trying to hold on to what you've already got rather than pushing for that third or fourth goal.
Yeah, I think it's a very good sign of a very good manager. Like you say, I think to adapt how a team's either going to come out or start in the second half. I think to not be arrogant enough to know that they're going to have the same amount of possession, same amount of chances. Like I say, it shows the signs of a very good manager, and I think for the players as well, it's a good sign. Cause I think Phil will be in that position before as a player where you've kind of been on the pitch and thinking, why are we playing like this? Why has he not made a sub? And I think as players, when you've got confidence in a manager to make the right decisions, make little tweaks, again, going back to constantly speaking to his players on the touchline, I think it is a very good sign of a club that can push on and build on, especially the last two games they've had.
Yeah, and I mentioned the penalty there. Obviously, we had a chance to put the game to bed early on in that second half. Obviously, Juninho Bacuna missed the penalty. Ultimately, it didn't cost us any points, which is the good news. But it's just got to take those chances, haven't we?
Well, you have, but we've all missed penalties, haven't we?
Speak for yourself, Phil.
3
out of 3 I'm on. Well, I was.
Come on. I only missed them at Wembley. So it's to be fair, you've got to have the courage to take it, haven't you? It's a penalty. You expect it to score, but nothing's a dead cert, is it, when you're taking a penalty? It could happen, as we've seen tonight. And it was unfortunate, but he had the courage to take it. And they were covering the mouths, weren't they? Discussing who was going to take it. It looked like the little powwow of 3 of them wanted it, and the guy that had the ball was taking it. And it shows a level of confidence and maturity that he wanted it. And it's just unfortunate, everybody misses penalties. So I'm never harsh on anyone that misses one because they have the courage to stand up there and have a go. Having said that, if it had gone in, the game was done, wasn't it? 3-0. That was it, all over at Dover. And I was thinking what kind of reaction we're going to get from the Sheffield Wednesday players. You saw, didn't you? There was a little bit of fist pumping when he missed it, and you thought, aye, here we go. They're going to have a go now. But it just never materialised, and it was a comfortable 2-0 win in the end anyway. So,
how well do you think that Town reacted to that, Murph? Obviously, for any team, if you miss a penalty so early on in the second half where you can kill the game off and you miss, it's easy, I suppose, to kind of get your heads down and mull in those moments. Whereas the team stuck to the task, didn't they? They still looked confident in terms of going forwards, but also had a confidence defensively.
Yeah, I think, again, going back to probably how the managers spoke to the lads at half time, saying, look, we might have to change how we play slightly. I think being 2-0 up, again, going back to getting that second goal when they did, I think missing the penalty, it's probably not going to get talked about as much as if they'd drawn the game 0-0 or even lost. I think that's obviously going to go in his favour. And Phil said, I think to have the confidence to step up is a massive thing. And I think Matty Glennon said on commentary, the fact that they've not had a penalty this season, was it even up on the board? who was going to be the penalty taker, and it was a sub that ended up taking it. So again, going back to making the decision, obviously the 3 players talking about who was going to take it. Like I say, the big thing again for me is having the confidence to step up and take it. In terms of how they reacted, I think it being very stop-start and bitty has probably benefited it slightly, rather than Sheffield Wednesday being allowed to get any sort of momentum. Obviously, they did look slightly G'd up after the penalty was missed, but within a minute that was quickly dispelled, and any thoughts of gaining anything from missing the penalty was gone.
And to be fair, it doesn't matter who's missed it. As a team, collectively, if you miss a penalty, you can't note about it, can you? You just get on with the game. And during the hustle and bustle of a match, you're not thinking, oh, flipping heck, I wish that penalty had gone in. You're just so back, switched in tune, what's going on, where have I got to do, where have I got to be, who am I marking? And you're just getting on with the game. So you don't even really think about it. It's not till afterwards, you're having a shower or whatever, and you're like, can't believe you flipping missed it. What were you doing? And you get a bit of banter then. That's the last time you're taking a penalty. I'm having it next time. I'm sure there's a bit of that about still. But during the game, it's done. You can't note about it. You have to crack on and get on and dig each other out again.
Yeah, absolutely. And there were 2 blows, Phil. One that you mentioned earlier, obviously Jonathan Hogg coming off injured. And then Josh Koroma also coming off, which looked like a little bit of a knock. They could be 2 big players missing out over the next few weeks.
Yeah. I mean, that Corona, he looked like he slipped and almost did the splits and did himself an injury. It looked terrible. Hopefully he's all right. Who knows? I mean, hopefully he'll probably be a bit sore tonight in the morning when he wakes up. But hopefully it won't be a long-term thing as well, because the way he's playing, he's key, isn't he, to the team and making things happen and scoring goals. So hopefully it's a short-term thing and he can get back playing as soon as possible.
Yeah, they've both been integral in this system, I suppose, Murph, as well. The fans watching will all be hoping that they'll be back soon.
Yeah, I think, like I say, especially with Hoggy, when he went down, he seemed to kind of know straight away. I think he was trying to kind of make a sign to the bench about getting someone warmed up. Sometimes that can be a more worrying sign that they know they're coming off. But in terms, I mean, science today and recovery process and equipment they've got, it's nothing like when I first started playing. And I think probably, Phil, when you were playing, it with the magic spray and kind of a magic sponge kind of thing, and it's, like I say, it's come along such a long way that he'll have started his recovery for both of them straight after they came off, and that can reduce recovery times massively nowadays. So hopefully, like I say, it's going to be only short term, and fingers crossed they'll be all right.
Yeah, absolutely. And Murph, back-to-back clean sheets as well. First time we've done that this season, and the back four has kind of chopped and changed a little bit because of injuries that we've had. It's really pleasing, that, isn't it? Especially when, like we said, Romani Edmonds-Green is in the back four for the first time, and it would be great for the goalkeeper, Ben Hamer, as well.
Yeah, like I say, I touched on it at the start as a back four and a five, including the keeper. They did actually look really solid, and like I say, a lot of that came down to decision making, which is a big part of being a defender. Especially, I mean, if you're a young lad coming in, you might have the confidence of playing in the 23s, where you might get away with a lot more than what you would playing in the first team. But like I say, the times they made the decision to go along, clear the lines, it was the right time. It can be frustrating for more attacking players when you see kind of like it going to Rose Ed, but it's a lot more safer there than it is kind of overplaying around your own 18-yard box. And like I say, as a pretty young back four, it will give them a lot of confidence, especially, like I said, chopping and changing, having to make changes due to injuries.
It's a Brucey bonus, isn't it? When you've scored a couple of goals and you keep a clean sheet's fantastic. That's what you want, isn't it? You build from the platform of not conceding. Cloughie always said, if you start from a clean sheet, then we're not going to lose, are we? So, so fantastic. Love a clean sheet.
Yeah, two wins on the bounce, 2 clean sheets. It couldn't really get much better at this moment in time, could it?
Mm. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, long may it continue. Confidence breeds confidence, doesn't it? And I'm sure they'll be working hard in training, but having a good laugh as well. And there'll be good team camaraderie. Everyone's going to be wanting to play. It's what they got now, nine subs. I'm like looking at the list. I'm like, flipping heck, how many subs is there? Is it 5 subs now? Is it?
Yeah.
Like, man alive. So it makes it more interesting, I guess, from the manager's perspective, because you've got more subs that you can use. I was thinking when he brought the last 2 subs on, I'm thinking, come on, get them on. There was some tired legs out there, wasn't there? And it needed a little bit of injection of energy and just to shore things up. But I'm sure everyone's going to want to be playing on a Saturday now, the way things are going. The thing is, it's when it's the other way. When things don't go so well and you're not quite getting the results and it's not quite going for you, that's when you need characters in the dressing room. Say, come on, give me a shirt, Gaffer. I'm going to come and show you how to do it, and get the team spirit that way. But yeah, long may it continue and keep winning and keep climbing up the table in a good position above midway in the table. And hopefully they can keep doing that and creep into the playoffs. Who knows?
And the good thing about this, Murph, we've always said from the start of this season that it's a transition. We're learning a new style of play. And game on game, we're seeing different elements of Carlos Corberán's side in terms of attacking play, but also defensively and game management. And if that can continue week on week, there's a lot of things for Huddersfield Town fans to be promising and to look forward to.
Yeah, definitely. Going back to clean sheets again, I think as a back 4, as a back 5, when you're working on kind of defensive work in training all week and you're getting rewarded with clean sheets, it's another massive boost for not only the manager but the players believing in what the manager's trying to bring across. And when you're combining that with what looked tonight really good attacking play, obviously you have to have the players to do that, but when a manager can see where players fit in and a formation that suits his players, it all adds up to a massively kind of reassuring sign for the fans that you do think. Well, I think when fans hear the transitional phase, I think it can sometimes fill them with a bit of dread, because you're kind of thinking, well, is that an excuse for not getting results and playing young lads that they say, well, they're inexperienced, but we've got no other options. It can be a funny time for clubs, and especially with the last 3-4 years of being up and down, it's a reassuring thing to see that it's actually a manager with a belief in what he does, and now the players, you can see, enjoy playing for him, and that is a massive thing. And it was good tonight to actually see Danny Schofield on the coaching staff, and sometimes from a fan point of view to see an ex-player, especially working with an international kind of foreign coach that can understand the fans almost, and maybe sometimes get that side across that, they still want to see battling performance, kind of wearing the shirt with pride. Again, it all combines to really looking good for the future.
Yeah, Carlos Corberán is really highly respected in the game, isn't he? He's very well complimented, and you see him the way he's handling himself on the side. Murphy made mention to it earlier. Is out there, he's in his technical area, is enthusiastic, he's passionate, he's giving instructions, is never just stood there saying nothing. And that goes not just on a match day and during the game. I'm sure in the dressing room at half time, his strategy, his tactics, the way he does training, the technology, the science, and all that malarkey involved in football nowadays, I'm sure he's up to speed with all of that. But on top of that, how he manages the players day after day, it seems like the players want to play for him, and the coaching staff as well, and then how he handles himself with the press. And it's like the full package, isn't it? It's not just a Saturday. People used to say to me, "Oh, you've got a great job for you only work on a Saturday," but they don't see the training and the effort that goes in Monday to Friday. and all the hard work and the graft that has to go in. So yeah, he's not been there an awful long time, and he's made such great paces and strides forward. So I'm really pleased for him. He seemed like a genuine guy, and yeah, we've said it many times. Hopefully they can keep going, and yeah, we look on with excitement.
Yeah, I can assure you all that Carlos and the team are working tirelessly at the training ground. Pretty much every day. The amount of hours and training sessions that the guides do is absolutely unbelievable. And thankfully, we can start seeing it paying off now. 2 fantastic results for Huddersfield Town. Phil, Murph, thank you very much for summarising a really good performance and win over Sheffield Wednesday. Huddersfield Town fans, thank you for watching.